Donald Trump was on 60 Minutes. He spoke to 52-year-old Norah O'Donnell of CBS. Not only did they talk about Zohran Mamdani's looks, they talked about ICE. And Donald Trump said something that I think many Americans actually feel. I would expect almost half the polling public of America. We're just getting started. So far, we haven't gone far enough. And everything is a half measure. Here's Donald Trump on ICE.
More recently, Americans have been watching videos of ICE tackling a young mother, tear gas being used in a Chicago residential neighborhood, and the smashing of car windows. Have some of these raids gone too far?
No, I think they haven't gone far enough because we've been held back by the judges, by the liberal judges that were put in by Biden and by Obama.
You're okay with those tactics?
Yeah, because you have to get the people out. You know, you have to look at the people. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are people that were thrown out of their countries because they were, criminals.
Never on defense, always on offense. Just when they think they have you cornered into something controversial, you come over the top with something more controversial. And it's right. We haven't gone far enough when it comes to ICE. Tinfoil Pat, Two-A-Days Dan, joining us now for this episode of Quick Takes. Half of America wants to see everyone in this country present illegally deported, regardless of their otherwise criminal activity. To see some people freaking out now about the deportations and the raids, I think, despite the hysteria and despite the visuals, still reveals this is a half measure for what is asked for by the American public. We all know the cost of illegal immigration. We all know what's happening. We know the cost of the job market. We know the cost of social services. We know the cost of welfare. We know the cost of culture. We all have friends who are in this country illegally, perhaps most of us, at least if you live in some place like Texas. But that interpersonal empathy does not extend and cannot extend into driving system-wide policy. You are either in this country legally or illegally. There is either the existence of American citizenship or we have open borders. And we have only just begun. And Tinfoil Pat, you and I were talking about this. There is a sense, not just when it comes to immigration, but to issues at large, that even though everything the administration is doing is painted as extremely controversial, for many out there, it still feels like a half measure. There's still so much further to go for Donald Trump.
I completely agree. I think that many on the right would think that we need to double, triple, or quadruple the numbers of people getting out through ICE. So, we have had people leave on their own for volition, but I think those numbers are very, very low for what people actually want to see.
So far, through the first 10 months of the presidency of Donald Trump, almost 2 million people have self-deported, which is a number to remember because the goal is to remove illegal aliens, not remove them necessarily through the mechanism of ICE, but simply to remove illegal aliens. And if they're choosing to self-deport, that is a victory. That is right. And it still leaves us today, though, with there's so much further to go. And I think it's so interesting to posit that half measure against the absolute freak out from the left.